What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Actually Good Coffee podcast, the show where we talk about all things coffee related, all while I drink a cup of coffee. Recently, I sat down with John Coz, the owner of Cozz Coffee, which is a mobile coffee truck where he roasts and serves his own coffee. The full interview was done on our online community, but I wanted to take a short segment and post it here. John is one of the most authentic business owners involved in coffee from our area. It's really refreshing to see somebody who's able to convey their personality so well through their business, so it's not just so robotic. That seems to be more common within any sort of business, really. Just these billion-dollar machines that seem like they're printing money nonstop. John is celebrating his 4-year anniversary of running this truck, and he's able to support himself and his family. 4 years is a really short amount of time if you really look at it at the grand scheme of things. So for anyone who might be looking to start their own business, specifically related to coffee, I think this would be really helpful and just understanding how you might get your start or how to get some experience before starting it. So without further ado, let's just get right into it.
How did you get into coffee? Were you a barista?
Yeah, so I was in school. I was going to school at NJIT for architecture. Then my friend worked at this cafe around the corner from NJIT, so I just started going there for lunch pretty much every day. And then it turned into a thing where he was like, oh, you should work here. And he would like train me after hours. And then I asked the owner one day, I was like, yo, can I work here? And she's like, oh, do you know how to do any of this stuff? And I was like, yeah. So like, she didn't know that he had trained me secretly. So I kind of went behind the bar and just knew where everything was. And I got a job at this cafe, and I really just fell in love with the cafe culture and just all the stuff that comes with hanging out in a coffee shop, and just kind of got into coffee from there, and just bounced around different cafe jobs until I started roasting.
Oh, you started roasting for a company?
Yeah. So I started, I was basically towards the end of college, and I wasn't looking to pursue architecture. So the cafe I was working for asked me if I wanted to jump on to the production side of things. So I started doing production for them and eventually roasting. And I kind of saw a bigger scope of what a career in coffee could be through there. And that's how I saw the whole production side of things, and the capabilities of running a business that could be far beyond just a cafe or coffee shop.
How long were you doing that for?
I worked for them for 2 years as a barista and then 3 years as the roaster. It's hard to remember because it was right before COVID. That's just all a blur now. But yeah, I think it was 2 years as a barista for them and then 3 years as their roaster. But then ironically, my dad has also always been a home roaster hobbyist. So as I was learning more about roasting, he started learning more about roasting too. He had this little automated roaster that he used to just roast, I don't know, I guess a pound every week. And then as I got more into it, he got more into it, and he bought himself a Genie cafe roaster, started roasting a little more.
Is he still doing it, or is it?
He does it. We have the roaster that I started with was just a 1 kilo roaster. So he has that at his house now, and him and my brother use that for all their stuff because I don't know, they stopped asking me for coffee, and now they just roast their own coffee, which is cool. But yeah, so they use that at home. I think my brother does all the roasting now though for the house. I think what happened was for a while they would ask for coffee, and when I had a smaller roaster, it was just kind of hard to keep up demand. And sometimes I would be yeah, just give me I don't know. I wouldn't have even 2 pounds to spare sometimes because I was just only able to roast so much in a day, So I think they just started roasting on the 1 kilo roaster at home for convenience. And then, I don't know, my brother likes doing it.
How big is your roaster that you use now just for your main production?
I always forget the conversion of kilo to pounds, but I do. I think it's a 3 kilo roaster because I do 7.5 pounds at a time.
Gotcha.
Right? That would make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty unique situation that your family is roasting their own coffee. I don't think that many people do that unless it's like a Nutley Bloomfield thing.
No, my dad said like he had a patient who like got him into roasting coffee in the early 2000s. He had like a really crazy like Italian name. Like I feel like it's like Rocco something. That guy roasted coffee, and that's how my dad got into roasting coffee. And he's in like Facebook groups for it and stuff. But he's just like a all around hobbyist. Like he gets into stuff and just is full on at it.
You said you stopped working for that other company during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Started your coffee truck pretty soon after.
Yeah, so it kind of was like a situation where at the end of 2019, they were moving their production. So the roaster used to be in the Catskills, like 2 hours away from here, and I would drive up there and I would sleep there 3 days a week. It was really taxing on me to go up to the Catskills every week and stay in this cabin essentially in the woods in like an isolated area, because it's one of those like seasonal places where in the summer there's a lot of people there, but in the winter it's just like nothing, just gas stations. So it was just like depressing, and I was like, I'll wait for them to move the production facility and see if I feel any different about it after they moved the production facility. And it was like right before COVID, then I was like, all right, this isn't like working. Then COVID happened. I took like 2 months off and then went back, and I was there for like another month or two. And I guess just like kind of that time away, kind of made me realize like, yeah, this isn't where I want to be. And I guess this is kind of like a weird limbo where everything's uncertain. So why not just try and do my own thing now while everything's weird? And if it doesn't work out, I don't know, but we're 4 years into it now.
Yeah. How is it going? I mean, 4 years into it.
Yeah. So I started it just as like a online store, just mail to order bags of coffee, with like, I guess the business model just being to kind of highlight creativity through the umbrella of coffee. Just because I feel like coffee kind of brings in so many different types of creatives, whether they be artists, musicians, or like novelists, whatever. So I was like, I just want to like come up with something that I could hire my friends to make cool artwork for the bags and just like get good coffee, roast it fresh, and send it to people. So that was like the crux of the business from the start. And I did that for, I don't know if it was like a full year just doing that. It was cool because it kind of started at a good time where I launched the business in July, and there was just like an initial excitement and novelty to it all. So it like pushed me from like July through like September, and then like the holiday rush came in. So it was like a nice like solid 6 months of just like pretty steady, consistent orders. And I was like, okay, I guess I like when I first started it, I was like, all right, I'll start it up, see how much money it makes in the first month, and then like probably have to apply to, some part-time jobs. But yeah, I like went through the first 6 months just doing that, and it was pretty good. And then I was doing Uber Eats for a little bit, like on the side, like that winter, the first like winter of like, everyone says January and February are the worst months for retail. So I think like that first year, I did like Uber Eats for a little bit, and then I started doing farmers markets that spring, and that's kind of where the mobile business grew from, when I like started tabling at vendor events and realizing I could still do something like a cafe without having to own a brick and mortar space for a cafe, which has been really awesome.
Do you feel like you offset that by doing those events, or do you feel like the fact that you have this truck now and you can kind of take it not anywhere but to certain places and you're a little bit more mobile, do you feel like that in itself is enough?
Yeah, so that's definitely like a good thing, that I'm able to kind of move it around to, I could bring it to an event and like bring it to places where people are going to be, rather than try and rely on people coming to me always, which is really helpful. it allows me to do things like mobile catering, which I had 2 catering events today. But those kind of things get me through like January through March until the farmers markets pick back up. But at the same time, not that I don't want to be making money or busy, but I just kind of look at it as like, okay, this is my time to reset. And after like, I don't know, because in the summer it gets so taxing to do. I do the trailer in the morning, Tuesday through Saturday, and then I have 3 farmers markets. 2 of them are on the weekdays during the afternoon, and then I have one on Sunday. So it's like 6 days straight of retail, and then running the online store like after hours all by myself. So it's like 6 months out of the year are really taxing and long days, and then the holidays come, and those are like kind of just flips more to like the e-commerce side of things. So e-commerce, I guess, is like busy in a different way than just like the trailer retail stuff. And then I kind of just look at January and February as like regroup time